Gentlemen, to Photoshop with Mr. Wade. Today we're going to be learning about how to use the rectangular marquee tool that you can find second from the top, this dotted rectangle here. And we're going to be using this tool to correct a problem with this image. I want you to look very closely at this calendar. You might notice that there's something wrong with the numbers. Do you see it? That's right, it's not 2016 anymore. In fact, it's a much better year, 2020, that we don't really have to talk about today because you know what I'm talking about. All right, so today we're going to just jump in, and the first item of business is, I would say, to zoom in to our project. And I did that by holding the Command Control button and pressing plus a few times. Now I'm going to trigger the hand tool to grab our project and drag the numbers into focus. And we should have something that looks like this. It looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that we're working on the right layer by going over here to the Layers panel and clicking on the background. Okay, now we're ready to get to work. So I already have the rectangular marquee tool selected. If you haven't done so, you want to select it now. And we're going to be using this tool to throw down a rectangle. And you can just click and drag and pull down a rectangle like that. Now, I made my rectangle a little bit above and below the 1 because these numbers are kind of different alignment to this clock space. And I also didn't do it directly on the 1 because there is a faint stroke or outline around it. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is triggering the Free Transform tool. And I can do that by putting my cursor in the middle of this rectangle and right-clicking. This throws up this toolbar. I'll be clicking Free Transform. Now, Free Transform is a tool that makes images scalable, basically that enlarges or shrinks them. We have now these 8 handles that have sprouted up around the corners of the rectangle, and if we click and drag as follows, we've scaled out. Now I'm pressing Command Control Z to take it back because we don't need it like that. What we do need, however, is to be able to pull this existing rectangular marquee over the 1, and it's not long enough. So there is a trick, and you should pay close attention to this because there's no other way that you would know how to do this unless I told this to you a few times. It's the Shift button. If you hold the Shift button, you can click and drag out one of the handles to eat up the 1, and voila, it is gone. Booyah! Beautiful work. Very happy. The 1 is no longer with us. All right. Now that we've taken out the 1, it's time to take out the 6. How do we do that? I'm glad you asked. We do it by way of the Move tool at the top. I'll be clicking on that. And now I'll be using this particular rectangular marquee to take over the 6. How do we do this? 2 hotkeys. One is the Shift key, which will enable us to slide the marquee vertically or horizontally perfectly. And the other is the Alt tool. And the Alt tool is basically going to copy this rectangle and place it wherever I want. So I have the Move tool selected. I'm touching Alt or Option, and I'm dragging. Bam! Beautiful, beautiful work. All right. Of course, we're not done yet. We have to move on to 2020. And we will also be fixing that with the rectangular marquee tool. So I've selected it. I'm going to be throwing down a rectangle around this 0. And I don't need the Free Transform tool because I already have it selected. I'm going to press Shift. I'm going to press Alt Option, and I'm dragging it. Ooh, you see what I did? I made a mistake. All right, let's do it again. Rectangle. Move tool. Shift, Alt, Option, and now boom! You see, even Mr. Wade makes mistakes. All right, let's do it again for the 2. We've got the rectangle. We have switched to the move tool, pressing shift, pressing alt option, and dragging. Okay, so beautiful work, very pleased. I'm zooming out now so everybody can appreciate 2020. Brought to you by Mr. Wade.